Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. The mind is louder than the world. Most people spend their days reacting, scrolling, rushing, absorbing noise, without ever realizing their attention has been stolen. They wake with anxiety already in motion, chasing after things they never chose. This is how focus dies, not through one great failure, but through 1,000 small surrenders. To reset means to take that control back, to reclaim your attention from everything that does not deserve it. There is a moment when you must stop running and face yourself. To restart is not to begin from zero, but to begin from clarity. It is to rebuild from a mind no longer clouded by distraction, no longer trapped by past mistakes or external noise. The Stoics understood that the most powerful life is not a life of constant addition, but one of deliberate subtraction, removing what weakens the will until only purpose remains. And then you refocus. You sharpen the mind until it moves like a blade, clear, calm, precise. The same world remains around you, but you no longer move through it as the same person. You no longer chase meaning, you create it. This is not motivation. This is reconstruction. This is the discipline of beginning again, every single day, with intention, composure, and command. The mind collapses when it stretches in too many directions. Every screen, every notification, every unfinished task fractures attention into fragments that never form a whole. The Stoics understood that chaos begins inside, not outside. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that strength begins with reset, the act of clearing the mental field, removing debris of distraction, and reclaiming the axis of self-command. Reset is not escape, it is return. Restart is the discipline of renewal. The Stoic does not wait for inspiration. They do not postpone order until emotion aligns. They begin again, immediately without hesitation. Each morning, the mind must be cleaned, the focus reinstalled, the standard restored. Seneca said that life is long if you know how to use it. Those who restart daily live longer within every hour. Their energy is not drained by guilt for yesterday's failures or anxiety for tomorrow's noise. Restarting resets identity. It tells the world, I am not defined by what scattered me. Refocus is concentration restored through principle. It is not about intensity alone, but alignment. Focus without direction is exhaustion disguised as work. Focus anchored to virtue becomes endurance. The Stoic trains the eye of the mind to see clearly what must be done and ignore everything else. The mind that can return to one point on command is already free. Freedom is not in doing what you wish. It is in wishing only what is necessary. Reset, restart, refocus. These are not steps. They are a cycle of maintenance. The modern world corrodes clarity by constant exposure. The human nervous system was not designed for the velocity of information, the saturation of artificial urgency. Every tab open on the screen is a door left ajar in the mind. The Stoic closes what is not essential. They protect the threshold of their attention as they would guard a fortress. A person who resets daily no longer reacts impulsively. They withdraw, they breathe, they begin again. Each pause is an act of sovereignty. To pause before responding, to delay judgment until perception clears. This is how self-mastery looks in real time. The modern interpretation of Stoicism is not suppression of emotion, but control of reaction. Emotion may surge, but reaction remains governed. Resetting separates what you feel from what you do. The restart begins when the person faces the mirror of self-awareness. You cannot rebuild what you will not confront. The Stoic examines without self-hatred, without excuses. They see their fatigue, their distraction, their wasted motion, and begin again with composure. Restart is not enthusiasm, it is precision. It is the act of restoring alignment between principle and behavior. Refocus demands stillness. The more you chase clarity, the faster it hides. Stillness reveals. Clarity returns in silence, not in pursuit. The Stoic sits, observes thought as it rises, lets it pass without resistance. Through this, the mind becomes transparent again. Clarity is not gained by adding more information, but by subtracting noise. To refocus is to simplify until only truth remains. Reset from consumption. Restart with purpose. Refocus through simplicity. These three commands counter the burnout of modern existence. Every person who feels scattered by screens, deadlines, and endless updates is not weak. They are overstimulated. The Stoic antidote is to narrow the field. Attention becomes weapon and shield. Used well, it builds empires of order. Used poorly, it destroys inner peace. The mind thrives under structure. Without structure, thought decays into restlessness. Epictetus taught that discipline is freedom. The modern person confuses freedom with abundance of choice. The Stoic defines freedom as mastery of attention. A mind that cannot stay is a mind that cannot decide. To reset is to choose what deserves thought. To restart is to reaffirm that choice. To refocus is to live it fully. Every failure begins as a lapse in clarity. Every victory begins as a return to it. The Stoic learns to reset before they collapse. They treat fatigue as a signal, not as defeat. When the modern world demands endless acceleration, the Stoic learns the value of strategic withdrawal. Withdrawal is not retreat. It is recentering before re-engagement. The warrior who steps back to breathe returns with precision. Refocusing sharpens meaning. It reminds you that purpose is not lost. It is buried under noise. Meaning must be excavated. The Stoic digs through distractions the way an archaeologist uncovers the foundations of forgotten civilization. Beneath the clutter, there is stillness. Beneath the noise, there is signal. Beneath exhaustion, there is power waiting to be reclaimed. Reset is humility before control. Restart is courage to begin again without drama. Refocus is wisdom to see what deserves your full attention. These are not abstract virtues, they are daily disciplines. A life lived without reset becomes repetition of error. A life without restart becomes stagnation. A life without refocus becomes diffusion. The Stoic keeps their mind clean the way a craftsman keeps tools sharp, not for show, but for survival. To reset means releasing attachment to yesterday's mistakes. The Stoic does not dwell on loss or resentment. They convert memory into instruction, not identity. Restarting means applying those lessons immediately. Refocusing means channeling energy into what remains under control. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, wrote Marcus Aurelius. Reset, restart, refocus. That is what being one looks like. The modern mind is not tired from labor. It is tired from noise. The Stoic builds mental silence the way others build wealth, intentionally, daily, without applause. Silence becomes clarity. Clarity becomes command. Command becomes peace. The Stoic does not need escape. They need reduction. Every unnecessary obligation removed increases control. Every digital impulse resisted sharpens presence. Reset when your attention fractures. Restart when your motivation dies. Refocus when your vision blurs. The discipline is to do it fast. No delay, no analysis. The Stoic knows hesitation multiplies confusion. Action restores clarity. A small act of order, cleaning the workspace, aligning a plan, breathing deeply, becomes the anchor point for composure. The act of refocusing is not glamorous. It is invisible work done in silence. No audience sees the struggle to reclaim the mind from drift. But every moment of regained focus compounds into strength. The Stoic does not measure progress by external milestones. They measure by the stability of their internal state. They can stand still while the world accelerates around them. Reset teaches detachment. Restart trains discipline. Refocus cultivates perception. These are not three ideas, but one practice expressed in motion. Detachment clears emotion. Discipline restores structure. Perception guides action. A person who trains these qualities becomes impossible to shake. The chaos of life remains, but the axis inside stays unmoved. The world is addicted to constant engagement. Every algorithm profits from attention theft. The Stoic profits from its defense. They defend focus with the same vigilance as health. They do not consume information, they select it. They do not scroll to escape boredom. They use boredom as signal to act. In this restraint lies power. Resetting is purification. Restarting is reconstruction. Refocusing is direction. These three together define mastery. A master is not someone who never loses focus, but one who returns to it immediately. They recognize drift, reset the system, and continue cleanly. Life favors those who recalibrate faster than they fall. The rhythm of renewal is simple. Stop, breathe, align, act. Each repetition strengthens neural discipline. The Stoic does not chase motivation. They engineer it through consistency. Resetting teaches the brain that clarity is accessible. Restarting proves momentum can be rebuilt any time. Refocusing confirms that attention is the foundation of power. The aging mind, more experienced but also more crowded, benefits most from this cycle. The years accumulate data, obligations, memories. The Stoic does not let accumulation become confusion. They prune, they remove, they simplify. Maturity in Stoicism is subtraction, the reduction of everything that dilutes focus. The result is lucidity, reset from digital overstimulation, restart from emotional fatigue, refocus on principle. The person who can do these three will possesses inner autonomy. They are no longer controlled by the world's pace. They move on their own schedule. Their mind becomes a metronome of composure in a frantic era. In this age, attention is currency. Every app, every news cycle competes to drain it. The Stoic becomes wealthy by conserving it. They spend it on creation, not consumption, on depth, not distraction. This is the new asceticism, not retreat to caves, but withdrawal from noise while living among it. The disciplined mind lives quietly in the middle of chaos. Resetting requires awareness. You must notice when drift begins. Most never do. They live in constant motion, mistaking exhaustion for productivity. The Stoic recognizes the difference. Motion without aim is decay. Action with focus is growth. The first requires energy, the second creates it. Restarting requires humility. To begin again is to admit that control was lost. Pride resists restarts. The Stoic sees humility as strength. It is the admission that you are human, fallible, imperfect, but capable of correction. Restart is an act of self-respect. It says, I am worthy of precision again. Refocusing requires boundaries. Clarity cannot survive constant interruption. The Stoic draws invisible lines around sacred time, hours of creation, study, or rest. No external urgency crosses those lines. In this way, they build internal territory, a private empire of stillness. Peace becomes infrastructure, not accident. Resetting often begins with physical order. The environment mirrors the mind. A cluttered room amplifies distraction. A clean workspace disciplines thought. The Stoic engineers surroundings that reduce friction. Every object has a place, every habit a schedule. External order reinforces internal calm. restarting thrives on repetition. Doing the same ritual daily builds momentum. Small victories accumulate into identity. The Stoic does not need novelty, they need rhythm. Repetition becomes devotion. Through repetition, chaos fades and consistency becomes nature. Refocusing thrives on silence. Silence reveals what noise conceals: fatigue, doubt, truth. The Stoic uses silence as calibration. They do not fear solitude, they depend on it. In silence, they measure thought against principle. What remains consistent becomes direction. Resetting teaches that self-control is a muscle. Each act of restraint strengthens it. Resisting distraction once makes it easier the next time. The Stoic sees focus as progressive overload. Each interruption resisted builds endurance. The result is mental toughness, indistinguishable from peace. Restarting renews commitment. Every day begins with an oath: to act with clarity, to speak with purpose, to live within control. This oath anchors behavior. The Stoic repeats it internally until it becomes reflex. When chaos strikes, the reflex activates automatically. The body moves in alignment with principle. Refocusing sharpens time. Every minute used consciously expands perception. Every minute wasted dulls it. The Stoic counts hours not by quantity, but by quality of presence. A single hour of pure focus accomplishes more than a week of half attention. Presence becomes a multiplier of life. Reset, restart, refocus, the triad of endurance in an age of noise. The disciplined person reclaims energy others lose to distraction. They appear calm, but their calm is constructed. They appear detached, but their detachment is control. Stoicism is not emotional numbness, it is emotional architecture, feelings arranged under reason. Reset when the system jams. Restart when the drive weakens. Refocus when purpose fades. Repeat until stable. This is the maintenance routine of the modern Stoic. Every cycle strengthens clarity, endurance, and composure. Every repetition rewires chaos into command. The result is not perfection, the result is control. The Stoic accepts imperfection as material for practice. Each mistake becomes signal to reset, not reason to quit. The modern person spends energy on guilt. The Stoic spends it on recalibration. The difference defines progress. Reset, restart, refocus. This rhythm, repeated over years, forms character. The mind becomes unbreakable because it is always rebuildable. The person becomes untouchable because they no longer depend on external conditions for balance. Stoicism is the technology of renewal, ancient wisdom adapted to modern overload. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Know where you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." Reset, restart, refocus. This is how that peace is built. Everything changes, yet the untrained mind resists it. The Stoic understands that resistance to change is the root of unnecessary pain. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. These words from Marcus Aurelius cut through illusion. The external world moves without permission, indifferent to control. What remains under command is thought, the interpretation of motion, the frame through which experience is seen. Reset begins when perception is reclaimed. The mind must be trained to see movement not as threat, but as the natural pulse of existence. Change dismantles the false security built from routine. Every alteration exposes dependency. The Stoic uses change as measurement to reveal where attachment still hides. Resetting from attachment is the cleansing act of realignment. When something shifts, the question is not, "Why did this happen?" but "What does this reveal about my structure?" To restart means to rebuild thought according to truth, not habit. Each day begins with the opportunity to reframe existence. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive. This is not poetic optimism, it is psychological recalibration. The Stoic begins the day not by scanning for problems, but by anchoring to gratitude. Gratitude stabilizes perspective before the world's noise begins. It converts survival into reverence, work into service, repetition into practice. Resetting at dawn is ritual, not sentiment. The act of breathing before motion, of recognizing presence before pressure, strengthens internal order. The person who wakes without purpose is already in drift. To awaken with gratitude is to reclaim the mind before external events seize it. The Stoic does not ask for an easy day. They prepare for a worthy one. The mind filters all experience. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Pain is judgment. Resetting begins with the examination of judgment. The Stoic studies their interpretations the way a sculptor studies stone, identifying where excess must be carved away. Emotion is raw material. Interpretation is the chisel. To restart perception is to cut away distortion until only truth remains. Change tests the depth of understanding. The weak person reacts to every fluctuation as catastrophe. The Stoic remains anchored by perception. They see that control of thought equals control of response. When the world shifts, they shift internally with composure. This is not detachment from reality. It is participation without confusion. To refocus is to meet change with intelligence, not panic. Life's constant motion is training ground. The Stoic does not seek stability from environment, but from judgment. The modern mind seeks certainty in systems, institutions, and forecasts. The Stoic finds it only within. Resetting after disappointment or loss means removing the illusion that life owed permanence. Restarting after disruption means reasserting agency through reason. Refocusing means choosing to see challenge as command to evolve. Each thought constructs or corrodes the inner architecture. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Thought directs energy, shapes perception, and dictates behavior. The person who allows negative narratives to dominate their mind builds internal ruins. The Stoic resets by replacing interpretation, not events. They may face the same adversity, but they see it through clarity. Their reaction defines their world. The universe is in motion, but stillness can exist inside it. The Stoic achieves this by aligning their inner tempo with nature's rhythm. Change becomes companion, not enemy. When the mind moves in sync with impermanence, peace emerges. The Stoic trains this acceptance daily through reflection, writing, silence. The result is equilibrium independent of circumstance. Morning is sacred because it is the purest moment of control. Before the first decision, before the world's pull, the mind stands unshaped. Resetting at this hour defines trajectory. A single disciplined morning can correct the entire day. Gratitude, reflection, stillness. These form the triad of psychological calibration. The Stoic greets dawn not with rush, but with readiness. Distress begins where perspective narrows. The Stoic broadens it. They examine the event not through emotion, but through principle. Is this within my control? That single question dissolves most suffering. Resetting perspective means redirecting energy from complaint to construction. Restarting action means using reason as compass. Refocusing ensures movement remains aligned with virtue. Every external disruption is a test of the internal system. When insulted, delayed, or disappointed, the Stoic measures their state. Do they react or remain unmoved? Resetting the emotional system trains composure as reflex. This does not suppress feeling, it channels it. Emotion becomes information, not identity. The modern world interprets emotion as command. The Stoic interprets it as data. Change exposes fragility. The Stoic welcomes this revelation. To know where you break is to know where you must strengthen. Resetting after loss is refinement. Restarting after failure is reconstruction. Refocusing after confusion is redirection. Every shift in life becomes opportunity for discipline to mature. The person who resists change stagnates. The one who integrates it evolves. The Stoic morning routine mirrors the universe's order. As the sun rises, light resets perception. The Stoic aligns their thought with that natural rhythm. They understand that nature renews itself through cycles of destruction and growth. To restart the mind each day is to mirror that cosmic law. Renewal is not an event. It is a discipline. The privilege of being alive, as Marcus Aurelius reminded, is not guaranteed. Gratitude for existence converts fatigue into strength. The Stoic sees every breath as borrowed time, every sunrise as instruction. Gratitude restores proportion. It makes trivial irritations irrelevant. When the mind expands in gratitude, focus sharpens automatically. The person who sees life as gift treats attention as sacred currency. Distress comes from distortion. To be disturbed by external events is to misinterpret them. Resetting perception dissolves that misinterpretation. The Stoic trains to separate fact from opinion. The event is neutral. Judgment paints it. Restarting judgment means erasing false color. The Stoic's clarity is not emotional numbness, it is emotional literacy. The universe changes, but principle endures. The Stoic builds identity on what does not decay: integrity, focus, reason. Resetting aligns identity with the eternal, not the temporary. Restarting renews commitment to virtue over comfort. Refocusing ensures that thought remains aimed toward contribution, not distraction. In this way, Stoicism becomes architecture of renewal. Every mind drifts toward chaos when left untrained. Resetting is conscious maintenance. The Stoic observes inner weather, when clouds of anxiety form, when winds of anger rise, and resets before storm becomes destruction. Restarting restores internal order. Refocusing redirects energy from reaction to reason. The world still changes, but the Stoic remains constant within it. The art of renewal begins with thought discipline. Thoughts repeated form grooves in consciousness. Resetting clears those grooves when they lead toward negativity. Restarting writes new paths through deliberate repetition of clarity. Refocusing reinforces these new roots until they become nature. Thought becomes architecture, behavior becomes structure, character becomes fortress. To live is to adapt. The Stoic does not fight the flow of time, they flow with it intelligently. Change becomes proof of existence. Resetting means removing friction against what already is. Restarting means participating in transformation consciously. Refocusing means seeing the pattern beneath events and acting with alignment. Peace is found not in control, but in coordination with nature's movement. Gratitude transforms ordinary mornings into acts of reverence. The Stoic wakes and affirms, "I am alive, therefore I can act. I can think, I can improve, I can contribute." This mindset cancels lethargy. Resetting through gratitude ignites vitality without external stimulus. The Stoic's energy comes from purpose, not entertainment. To feel distress is human. To remain in distress is optional. The Stoic cuts the chain of reaction by questioning interpretation. Is this truly harm or just discomfort? That inquiry dissolves unnecessary suffering. Resetting mental models transforms chaos into challenge. Restarting with clarity turns failure into material for growth. Refocusing ensures endurance beyond temporary emotions. The discipline of acceptance builds peace that cannot be taken away. When the Stoic accepts the inevitability of change, anxiety loses leverage. Resetting teaches surrender without weakness. Restarting teaches persistence without attachment. Refocusing teaches presence without distraction. Together, these principles turn daily uncertainty into structured calm. The universe does not stop for your hesitation. It moves forward endlessly. The Stoic moves with it, aware that time itself is impartial. Resetting means re-entering alignment with time's direction. Restarting means using each moment deliberately. Refocusing means filtering out what does not serve the current moment. Presence becomes armor against confusion. Change is proof of life. Only the dead remain still. The Stoic sees this and embraces impermanence as signal to act. Resetting at every disruption means becoming lighter. Restarting at every failure means remaining resilient. Refocusing at every distraction means staying awake. The result is adaptability indistinguishable from serenity. When the external world fractures, the Stoic turns inward, not in retreat, but in restoration. They understand that calm inside chaos is mastery. Resetting the nervous system through breath and thought restores balance faster than reaction ever could. Restarting with composure reclaims control. Refocusing on virtue re-establishes direction. This internal sequence protects sanity in unstable environments. Every person faces mornings where heaviness lingers, where purpose feels distant. The Stoic meets this with awareness. They reset by acknowledging emotion without surrendering to it. They restart by taking one deliberate action, rising, writing, moving. They refocus by remembering principle. The mind follows action. Momentum begins small, then compounds. The quote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it," reveals responsibility. No one controls thought but the thinker. The Stoic treats thought as sacred territory. They guard its borders, filter its inputs, and cultivate it through study and silence. Resetting the mind means reclaiming ownership. Restarting means replanting better seeds. Refocusing means tending them daily until character grows from them naturally. Gratitude, change, and perception. These three Marcus Aurelius teachings form a cycle of renewal. Gratitude grounds you in presence. Acceptance of change grounds you in reality. Control of perception grounds you in strength. Together, they form the mental trinity of Stoic composure. Resetting, restarting, and refocusing are how those ideas translate into action. To be alive is privilege. To think clearly is power. To stay calm in change is mastery. The Stoic fuses all three through repetition. Life becomes laboratory, every day a new experiment in control. Resetting keeps the tools clean. Restarting keeps the process alive. Refocusing keeps the aim precise. The product is equanimity, peace sharpened by discipline, not dulled by resignation. The Stoic understands that renewal is infinite. Each moment carries potential to begin again. Change no longer frightens them, it motivates them. Gratitude no longer feels abstract, it becomes operational. Perception no longer distorts, it clarifies. Reset, restart, refocus. This is how thought shapes life and how life mirrors thought. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. The Stoic sees this truth not as sentiment but as law. Nothing begins without something else concluding. To resist endings is to resist growth. Reset means accepting the closure of what has finished, not clinging, not resenting, simply acknowledging the cycle as complete. Every conclusion contains within it the blueprint of renewal. The disciplined mind recognizes this and uses it. The person who can let go without turmoil multiplies their power. To restart requires release. You cannot build the next structure while still holding the ruins of the last. Seneca taught that endings are not loss but conversion. Energy once tied to one phase is now freed for another. The Stoic converts grief into motion, confusion into clarity, fatigue into redirection. Resetting after an ending is not retreat but transformation. It is the conscious act of redirecting strength toward a higher order. The mature mind accepts that all creation demands destruction. Every sunrise burns the remnants of the previous night. The same principle governs the inner world. Each ending tests attachment. The Stoic measures how much identity depended on what has now passed. When the external form dissolves, a job, a relationship, a status, the question arises, what remains when everything unnecessary is removed? Reset begins there. The Stoic strips identity to its essence, leaving only what is unchangeable: reason, virtue, endurance. Restarting from that foundation ensures stability. Refocusing then aligns attention toward what endures beyond cycles. Change that is resisted becomes suffering. Change that is accepted becomes renewal. Seneca's wisdom anchors this transition. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. The Stoic does not mourn the ending of comfort. They translate it into clarity. Endings cleanse illusions. They dissolve false certainty, making space for sharper perception. Resetting through endings means stepping into emptiness with precision. The void is not absence, it is potential unshaped. To restart effectively, the mind must clear its field. A cluttered memory cannot sustain focus. The Stoic practices intellectual minimalism. They retain lessons, discard noise. When reflection transforms confusion into structure, energy returns. A matter that becomes clear ceases to concern us. Seneca understood that clarity is the end of torment. Confusion consumes vitality. Clarity liberates it. Resetting perception through inquiry dissolves anxiety's grip. Most suffering persists because it remains undefined. The Stoic knows that the act of clear examination ends fear. To name the problem precisely is to neutralize its chaos. Resetting attention toward analysis instead of reaction shifts power back to reason. Restarting from understanding, not emotion, stabilizes momentum. Refocusing then directs that momentum toward constructive action. What was once consuming becomes fuel for discipline. Every ending brings emotional residue. The Stoic handles it as they would handle smoke, with ventilation, not denial. Reflection ventilates emotion through reason. The act of writing, meditating, or silent observation allows confusion to dissipate. Reset is the exhalation of what no longer belongs. Restart is the inhalation of purpose. Refocus is the steady breath that follows. In this rhythm, composure returns. Endings frighten those who identify with phases. The Stoic identifies with principles. Phases change, principles persist. Resetting means recalibrating to those constants: courage, temperance, justice, wisdom. Restarting means enacting them again within new conditions. Refocusing ensures those principles guide behavior, not nostalgia. A person anchored to principle cannot be lost when context shifts. Seneca's insight on clarity reveals the psychology of peace. Anxiety thrives in ambiguity. Once a matter is understood, once its boundaries and causes are known, it loses its grip. Resetting the mind means forcing fog into form, asking, defining, articulating until chaos becomes structure. The Stoic turns worry into diagram, emotion into map, When the unknown becomes known, the heart steadies. Every day ends, every day begins again. The Stoic treats both as practice. Reset at sunset by releasing all mental debris. Restart at dawn by reaffirming intent. Refocus through the day by remembering the brevity of life. This daily pattern turns impermanence into power. The person who dies to yesterday and awakens to today becomes timeless in conduct. Endings are invitations to rebuild cleaner. The Stoic does not seek perpetual continuity. They seek refinement. Resetting after collapse allows the removal of unnecessary complexity. Restarting after failure enables re-engineering with precision. Refocusing after confusion aligns with simplicity. Every iteration becomes sharper, quieter, more efficient. Endings are the editing process of existence. To accept the end of one era is to free the energy trapped in resistance. Many live in tension because they refuse to let chapters close. The Stoic knows this stagnation poisons focus. Reset means severing attachment. Restart means redirecting energy forward. Refocus means applying that energy toward what can still grow. The power to renew lies in the courage to release. Clarity is the natural end of inquiry. When the Stoic examines their fears, they find logic beneath emotion. The moment something becomes understood, it ceases to dominate. A matter that becomes clear ceases to concern us. This truth guides all Stoic practice. The unknown agitates, the known stabilizes. Resetting perspective by seeking understanding converts anxiety into strategy. Mental clarity acts like light in a dark room. Once illumination spreads, monsters shrink to ordinary shapes. The Stoic does not wait for calm to appear. They create it through clarity. Restarting with clear thought removes wasted movement. Refocusing ensures continued direction under pressure. The result is peace built on awareness, not ignorance. The modern mind clings to perpetual activity. It fears stillness because stillness exposes endings. The Stoic reverses this instinct. They stop, observe, let endings finish their course. Resetting demands pause. Restarting demands deliberate entry into motion. Refocusing demands control of pace. This measured tempo creates the rhythm of mastery. To live well is to move with accuracy, not speed. Endings are not signals of defeat. They are checkpoints of evolution. The Stoic reviews what ended, extracts principle, and discards residue. Each reflection resets identity closer to truth. Restarting from the purified core ensures that the next beginning is not repetition of old error. Refocusing maintains that forward motion remains under reason, not impulse. Growth becomes structural, not emotional. When clarity is achieved, emotional charge dissolves. The Stoic understands that obsession survives only in uncertainty. Once something is fully seen, it loses mystery, and with it, control. Resetting toward analysis rather than rumination disarms anxiety. Restarting with perspective anchors calm. Refocusing reinforces that insight through continued discipline. This process neutralizes suffering at its cognitive root. The Stoics' peace is not denial of endings, but harmony with them. They view death, loss, and change as continuation in another form. Resetting after death of a phase is to honor it by evolving. Restarting is gratitude in motion, appreciation expressed as creation. Refocusing is devotion to principle across transformation. This posture builds serenity that outlasts circumstance. To find clarity is to end concern. Many chase answers but avoid the simplicity of truth. The Stoic does the opposite. They face reality without distortion. When truth is clear, energy returns. Resetting from illusion into realism brings focus. Restarting from knowledge brings power. Refocusing through reason brings peace. The process is clinical yet liberating. Every conclusion offers feedback. The Stoic studies outcomes without drama. They observe what failed, what succeeded, and adjust without emotional interference. Resetting becomes refinement, not punishment. Restarting becomes iteration, not regret. Refocusing ensures direction remains true despite past deviation. Through this cycle, mastery emerges quietly. Seneca's reflection on beginnings and endings reflects universal law. Nothing is static. Every form expires into the next. The Stoic embraces this not as fatalism, but as creative realism. They know that each destruction is space cleared for design. Resetting clears mental architecture. Restarting builds with better material. Refocusing protects against future collapse. Existence becomes engineering under reason. Clarity ends suffering because confusion fuels it. The Stoic trains to clarify everything: motives, fears, desires. They ask, "What exactly am I resisting?" The question itself disarms emotion. Resetting inquires before reacting. Restarting acts after understanding. Refocusing sustains this pattern until it becomes instinct. Life becomes deliberate, not accidental. Endings are the audit of attachment. They reveal what we depended on for identity. The Stoic uses this audit to eliminate excess. They do not grieve what ends. They analyze it. Resetting aligns values with permanence. Restarting aligns behavior with those values. Refocusing ensures effort serves virtue, not nostalgia. This mental economy saves strength. When clarity arrives, emotion settles naturally. The Stoic does not force calm, they earn it through understanding. Resetting the intellect before acting prevents reactional chaos. Restarting from order ensures stability. Refocusing refines attention on controllable variables. In this systematic method, serenity becomes logical outcome, not mystical state. The mind trained in this discipline becomes immune to shock. Endings no longer destabilize, change no longer threatens, confusion no longer dominates. The Stoic carries calm as infrastructure, not mood. Resetting renews this structure daily. Restarting strengthens it through repetition. Refocusing maintains it through awareness. Peace becomes posture. When one door closes, another opens only to those willing to face the threshold. The Stoic stands at that point without fear. They do not rush the next stage, nor cling to the last. They reset the mind, clear emotion, analyze fact. Then they restart, acting with deliberate precision. Refocusing, they sustain their movement with principle as compass. In this way, each ending transforms into momentum. Seneca's philosophy teaches that freedom is clarity and rebirth is courage. Every new beginning emerges from an end, purified by understanding. The Stoic lives within that law consciously. Resetting ensures endings are processed, not avoided. Restarting ensures beginnings are intentional, not reactive. Refocusing ensures direction remains constant through both. This is how calm becomes strength, and strength becomes peace. Reset, restart, refocus, through endings and beginnings, through confusion and clarity. The Stoic learns to flow through change like a disciplined current, never stagnant, never lost, always directed by the gravity of reason. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The foundation of Stoicism stands on this distinction. Events unfold without moral weight until interpretation assigns meaning. The Stoic trains to separate the external from the internal, the uncontrollable from the commandable. Reset begins in that division. The instant the mind confuses the two, chaos enters. To reset is to return to the truth. Reaction is the field of freedom. The world moves as it will. The disciplined mind decides what it becomes. The modern world intensifies reaction. Notifications, headlines, and opinions demand immediate judgment. Every stimulus tempts the ego to defend, argue, or panic. The Stoic reverses this conditioning. They do not answer every signal. They pause. That pause is sovereignty. Resetting the nervous system in the space between event and reaction transforms weakness into power. The delay becomes distance, and distance gives clarity. To react without awareness is to surrender command. To respond with clarity is to govern the self. Epictetus saw that the difference between peace and suffering lies entirely in this choice. Resetting means halting the reflex before it hardens into emotion. Restarting means replacing the reflex with reason. Refocusing means maintaining that reason until the storm of impulse passes. Through repetition, calm becomes instinct. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. This principle defines focus under pressure. Modern chaos convinces people to fight for control of what can never be theirs: outcomes, opinions, timing. The Stoic narrows control to thought, choice, and conduct. Resetting the sphere of influence is liberation. The mind becomes efficient when it no longer spends energy on the impossible. To restart is to act within that sphere deliberately. The Stoic executes without obsession. They perform with precision, not desperation. Their energy stays within the borders of control. Refocusing keeps attention on effort, not result. This posture produces endurance. When you stop demanding the world to comply, exhaustion disappears. You simply work cleanly, accepting what follows as natural sequence. Reaction defines destiny. Many fall not from what occurred, but from what they added to it through reaction. The Stoic deletes this addition. They remove judgment, narrative, and blame until only fact remains. Resetting in this way reclaims neutrality. Restarting from neutrality restores movement. Refocusing on what can still be done rebuilds momentum. Through this practice, adversity becomes material for mastery. Every difficulty tests the command of perception. The untrained mind blames conditions. The Stoic studies them. They analyze what lies within control and what does not. Resetting converts chaos into structure. Restarting transforms emotion into energy. Refocusing directs that energy into execution. The process turns setbacks into laboratories of strength. Reaction is habit formed through repetition. The Stoic replaces reaction with response by conscious rehearsal. When insulted, delayed, or obstructed, they observe the surge of emotion but do not act upon it. Resetting trains the pause. Restarting exercises composure. Refocusing strengthens patience. Over time, the space between event and response widens, and in that space, freedom lives. To make best use of what is in your power requires constant inventory. The Stoic reviews this inventory daily: thought, attitude, attention, effort, speech, conduct. Everything else is noise. Resetting means conducting this audit. Restarting means executing based on it. Refocusing means revisiting it whenever drift begins. This structure keeps the mind lean and decisive. The world often praises control of circumstance. Stoicism praises control of self. The first leads to frustration, the second to freedom. When the Stoic acts, they do so from clarity, not compulsion. They accept uncertainty without surrendering discipline. Resetting to this truth prevents exhaustion. Restarting from it rebuilds strength. Refocusing under it sustains composure. To react well requires understanding that the event itself is neutral. Only perception defines its quality. The Stoic disciplines perception through reasoned dialogue. What happened? What can I do? What must I accept? These questions dissolve panic. Resetting restores order to thought. Restarting restores order to conduct. Refocusing preserves this order under time's pressure. Life provides endless tests of reaction. Delay, loss, insult, fatigue, failure, all measure composure. The Stoic treats them as training. Resetting means recognizing each challenge as a chance to refine judgment. Restarting means practicing equanimity under tension. Refocusing means carrying that calm into action. Each repetition engraves discipline deeper than emotion. To make best use of what is in your power also means recognizing limits. Many destroy peace by overextension. They try to control outcomes of others, systems, or time itself. The Stoic confines power to what they can truly steer. Resetting boundaries is protection. Restarting within those boundaries is efficiency. Refocusing within them is peace. The disciplined life is not narrow, it is precise. Epictetus taught that happiness is freedom, and freedom is the result of correct perception. To be disturbed by what lies beyond reach is self-inflicted captivity. Resetting perspective frees thought from that cage. Restarting confirms this freedom through calm action. Refocusing sustains it by practice. In time, serenity becomes the natural state of an ordered mind. The reaction-driven world misinterprets calm as indifference. For the Stoic, calm is concentrated power. It is energy untangled from impulse. Resetting maintains that energy in reserve. Restarting channels it through intention. Refocusing keeps it aimed. The person who can stay still in chaos controls the tempo of life itself. Reaction is easy. Response is strength. When provoked, the Stoic waits until reason reclaims command. This interval defines mastery. Resetting removes urgency. Restarting inserts clarity. Refocusing ensures expression remains aligned with principle. Through repetition, reaction loses speed and reason gains authority. Take the rest as it happens. These words dissolve anxiety. Life unfolds by its own rhythm. The Stoic moves with it, not against it. Resetting stops the futile fight with reality. Restarting applies focus within what remains possible. Refocusing sustains presence without resistance. Acceptance becomes function, not philosophy. The disciplined person does not waste emotion on chance. They do what they can, as best they can, then release outcome. This release is not laziness, but intelligence. Resetting thought from expectation to execution removes suffering. Restarting with full effort replaces fear with control. Refocusing on the process transforms work into meditation. Reaction often hides attachment. The stronger the reaction, the deeper the attachment to how things should be. The Stoic identifies these attachments as vulnerabilities. Resetting requires stripping them away. Restarting demands acting without dependence on result. Refocusing sustains this detachment until action becomes pure. Such freedom cannot be disturbed. Every adversity contains two paths, reaction or response. Reaction multiplies pain, response converts it into learning. Resetting teaches awareness of this fork. Restarting trains selection of the wiser path. Refocusing ensures that choice becomes habit. Over years, resilience grows from discipline, not from avoidance. To make best use of what is in your power demands vigilance. Distraction constantly pulls thought into fantasy or fear. The Stoic resets to the moment. Presence is their fortress. Restarting from presence allows clean execution. Refocusing sustains this through cycles of fatigue and success. Attention, guarded fiercely, becomes the core asset of existence. The Stoic does not ignore emotion, they interpret it. Emotion signals a thought error or an unmet need. Resetting investigates the cause instead of dramatizing the feeling. Restarting addresses what can be fixed. Refocusing releases what cannot. This triage method preserves strength. Reaction drains, reflection replenishes. To react properly is to align with nature's logic. Everything external follows its own path: storms, markets, opinions. The Stoics' peace lies in adaptation. Resetting returns them to reason's ground. Restarting aligns behavior with principle. Refocusing keeps awareness of control constant. The result is composure independent of turbulence. The person who controls reaction controls destiny. When insulted, they choose silence. When delayed, they choose patience. When misjudged, they choose integrity. Resetting before speaking prevents damage. Restarting after insult demonstrates dignity. Refocusing on virtue preserves peace. Each controlled response rewires the mind toward dominance of self. Take the rest as it happens. This statement demands humility. Life's outcome is a mixture of choice and chance. The Stoic respects both. Resetting expectation means detaching from reward. Restarting reaffirms duty. Refocusing keeps satisfaction rooted in effort, not applause. Freedom blooms when approval and result lose power. To react well is to embody patience as armor. The Stoic knows that haste is weakness. Resetting replaces haste with observation. Restarting converts observation into deliberate motion. Refocusing ensures consistency. Their calm is not passive, it is operational precision. When the uncontrollable arrives, loss, chaos, injustice, the Stoic uses the moment to demonstrate principle. Resetting removes complaint. Restarting reinforces courage. Refocusing restores balance. The world watches but cannot disrupt what is governed internally. To make the best use of what is in your power also includes thought hygiene. Mental clutter weakens reaction control. The Stoic clears their mind daily, pruning repetitive worries and unproductive fantasies. Resetting clears mental cache. Restarting fills it with order. Refocusing ensures maintenance. Mental clarity becomes immunity against chaos. Reaction is the point where philosophy becomes practice. Words end and discipline begins. The Stoic does not talk composure, they enact it. Each pause, each refusal to react, each silent acceptance is a form of training. Resetting is awareness. Restarting is execution. Refocusing is endurance. Through this triad, character hardens into unshakable calm. Freedom begins where control ends. The Stoic does not demand guarantees. They demand excellence within reach. Resetting to that standard eliminates wasted emotion. Restarting at that level maintains consistency. Refocusing upon it ensures mastery. Epictetus's wisdom distills to a single command: govern your response, and life will serve your will. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man. Change is the permanent motion of life, the undercurrent that moves through every experience. Heraclitus understood that constancy is illusion. Every moment reconfigures the landscape of existence, and every encounter reshapes the individual who perceives it. Reset begins when this truth is accepted. To deny change is to fight the current and exhaust the mind. To reset is to stop resisting the river and learn to navigate its flow with clarity. The Stoic uses change as material for training. When reality shifts, they do not mourn stability, they refine adaptability. The modern person clings to patterns, expecting permanence where none exists. The Stoic knows that repetition without awareness becomes decay. Restarting requires recognition that the world, the mind, and the self have all transformed. Refocusing aligns perception with what now is, not what once was. Change strips away illusions of control. The river moves with or without consent. Resetting begins by acknowledging this motion as natural. The mind must learn to adapt without losing integrity. Each thought, each belief must be examined against the reality of transformation. The Stoic sees identity as a living construct, flexible in expression but constant in principle. They do not fear evolution, they fear stagnation. To restart within change is to act without nostalgia. The Stoic moves forward without the burden of what used to be. They do not measure progress by the preservation of comfort, but by the maintenance of clarity. Refocusing in this context means keeping vision steady even as conditions dissolve. The person who masters this alignment becomes unshakable, not because the world calms, but because they flow with its rhythm. The river symbolizes both chaos and renewal. Every ending it washes away becomes material for a new beginning downstream. The Stoic steps into this flow consciously. Reset means stepping in again, aware that the self is altered by experience. Restart means moving with intention through unfamiliar currents. Refocus means holding principle as compass while everything external transforms. Change ceases to be threat and becomes teacher. The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself. Plato's words cut to the essence of the Stoic path. Every external conquest is meaningless without internal dominion. Reset begins within. The Stoic does not first seek to change the world, but to discipline the self. The mind that conquers impulse, distraction and fear stands undefeated even in defeat. Mastery of self is the axis upon which all other victories turn. To conquer yourself is not suppression, but calibration. It is alignment of desire with reason, action with virtue. Resetting this internal balance after drift is the most critical work. When emotion leads, chaos follows. When reason leads, order returns. Restarting means reinstating the hierarchy. Reason at the helm, emotion as signal, not master. Refocusing means practicing this arrangement until it becomes instinct. Heraclitus and Plato intersected the same truth. Transformation without inner command leads to confusion. The world changes constantly, and without self-discipline, the individual dissolves into that change. Resetting secures identity within impermanence. Restarting allows emotion without losing structure. Refocusing maintains awareness through transition. The disciplined self rides the river without being swept away. Every day demands a new conquest of self. Distraction infiltrates thought, emotion floods judgment, habit dulls intention. The Stoic resets daily to counter these invasions. They wake, observe and correct course before the mind fragments. This discipline is victory renewed. The act of returning to reason again and again builds unbreakable composure. To conquer yourself requires precise honesty. The Stoic observes without flattery or condemnation. Weakness is studied, not hidden. Impulse is dissected, not excused. Resetting means identifying what part of you resists order. Restarting means training it through repetition. Refocusing means holding the long view. Understanding that mastery is perpetual maintenance, not final state. The river of time demands flexibility, but self-mastery provides the anchor. The Stoic blends these two forces. They adapt without corruption. Resetting recalibrates behavior to principle after drift. Restarting confirms control through action. Refocusing ensures that adaptability serves virtue, not chaos. Thus, change becomes a tool of growth, not a cause of instability. To resist change is to fracture. To yield completely is to dissolve. The Stoic balances between these extremes by cultivating inner stillness amid outer flux. Reset means acknowledging impermanence. Restart means acting with precision inside it. Refocus means guarding the mind's center. The person who can remain steady in constant motion possesses true strength. The modern individual suffers because they expect consistency from a dynamic world. Heraclitus would call this blindness. The Stoic calls it attachment. Resetting removes this expectation. Restarting redefines success as adaptation, not control. Refocusing grounds peace in behavior, not circumstance. From this vantage, every shift becomes manageable. Self-conquest begins with attention. Most live enslaved by automatic thoughts and reflexive emotion. The Stoic watches thought as it forms. They separate judgment from reality, impulse from action. Resetting restores this awareness after distraction. Restarting applies it during tension. Refocusing maintains it under fatigue. Attention becomes the weapon through which self-conquest is sustained. The river of life tests mastery through surprise. Plans collapse, people change, health fluctuates. The Stoics' preparation lies not in predicting these, but in controlling reaction. Resetting in crisis means returning to principle. Restarting means executing calmly, despite uncertainty. Refocusing ensures endurance through continued reflection, stability under movement. That is Stoic resilience. Every change reveals an aspect of self that resists growth. Resetting exposes these attachments to scrutiny. Restarting replaces them with disciplined intention. Refocusing keeps the process alive until resistance transforms into acceptance. Mastery evolves each time chaos fails to disturb the core. Conquering yourself means restraining the desire to control others. The Stoics' authority begins and ends with their own will. Resetting boundaries reinforces this sovereignty. Restarting behavior according to virtue affirms it. Refocusing ensures that energy flows inward before outward. Influence becomes byproduct, not pursuit. The self is a system under constant renovation. Every day rewires the neural architecture through thought, choice, and repetition. The Stoic engineers this consciously. Resetting clears old patterns of reaction. Restarting establishes new routines of reason. Refocusing solidifies these until habit becomes philosophy embodied. Change becomes the mechanism of improvement. Heraclitus taught that the same river never flows twice, yet people still chase permanence. The Stoic sees futility in that pursuit. They choose rhythm over rigidity. Resetting teaches flexibility. Restarting exercises patience. Refocusing integrates both into calm progress. The result is movement without loss of identity. Plato's call to conquer oneself is not arrogance but alignment. It means harmonizing thought and action. Resetting after contradiction restores integrity. Restarting in truth rebuilds consistency. Refocusing ensures coherence through pressure. A person ruled by themselves is immune to manipulation. Change, when viewed correctly, is the training field for mastery. The Stoic meets flux with composure. Resetting after emotional turbulence strengthens endurance. Restarting within uncertainty develops courage. Refocusing during transition maintains clarity. Each adaptation expands capacity for calm. To master the self is to accept imperfection as part of progress. The Stoic does not demand flawlessness, only discipline. Resetting after failure prevents corrosion. Restarting reinforces resilience. Refocusing preserves confidence. Self-conquest grows through repair, not avoidance. The mind must learn to treat every day as a new current. Yesterday's clarity does not guarantee today's focus. Resetting renews vigilance. Restarting restores motion. Refocusing aligns energy to purpose. The Stoic lives in active recalibration, never asleep in routine. Conquering yourself requires courage to confront delusion. The mind lies easily to protect comfort. Resetting exposes these lies. Restarting applies truth despite resistance. Refocusing ingrains honesty until it becomes instinct. Freedom follows truth, and truth follows discipline. Heraclitus's river flows through all things. Time, emotion, circumstance, all move endlessly. The Stoic does not try to freeze this motion. They learn to navigate it. Resetting steadies the vessel. Restarting adjusts the course. Refocusing keeps the destination in view. Movement becomes harmony, not hazard. Every confrontation, setback, or insult reveals the next frontier of self-mastery. The Stoic reads these moments as training logs. Resetting removes judgment. Restarting translates experience into refinement. Refocusing ensures lessons are integrated, not ignored. Each cycle of adversity advances the architecture of composure. To conquer yourself also means governing desire. The Stoic understands that unchecked desire leads to dependency. Resetting reduces craving to essentials. Restarting aligns wants with virtue. Refocusing sustains moderation through awareness. The result is contentment, immune to external fluctuation. Change brings renewal only when faced consciously. The unexamined life repeats confusion in new forms. The examined life resets at each iteration. Restarting begins with clarity, not habit. Refocusing maintains observation through time. Awareness turns change into evolution. Heraclitus's insight dissolves fear of change by revealing its inevitability. Plato's command dissolves weakness by revealing control within. Combined, they form the Stoic's foundation. Accept the river, govern the self, reset, restart, refocus. These are the acts of the conscious navigator who flows through change without losing direction. The person who conquers themselves steps into the river of life unafraid. They know the current cannot drown what moves with it. Resetting renews composure in motion. Restarting applies discipline through turbulence. Refocusing maintains virtue across distance. This is mastery. To flow, to adapt, to command the only thing that never ceases, the self. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The Stoic sees every obstruction as instruction. Marcus Aurelius understood that life does not obstruct purpose, it defines it. Obstacles are not interruptions, but materials of progress. Reset begins with this perception shift. The mind must be trained to translate friction into focus. The barrier becomes blueprint. Every challenge carries within it the outline of new strength waiting to be built. The untrained mind collapses when confronted by resistance. The Stoic sees resistance as the sculptor of the self. Resetting at the point of difficulty means choosing engagement over avoidance. The obstacle clarifies what matters. Restarting from that realization turns adversity into direction. Refocusing sustains effort through fatigue. What was once seen as limitation becomes catalyst. The Stoic converts every delay into discipline. When something blocks the path changes shape. The disciplined mind adjusts without despair. Resetting thought in that instant removes emotional noise. Restarting action under new constraints demonstrates composure. Refocusing attention on execution transforms frustration into motion. The external world cannot defeat an internal structure that adapts. The Stoic advances because they do not waste energy resisting what already is. Obstacles strip comfort from progress. They expose weakness, inefficiency, and false expectation. Reset means observing these exposures without complaint. Restart means correcting them through improved action. Refocus means maintaining that refinement through continuity. Each confrontation with resistance becomes a mirror revealing what must evolve. Growth is the byproduct of friction. The modern person often avoids difficulty, believing ease is success. Stoicism reverses this belief. Comfort dulls the blade of the mind. Resistance sharpens it. Resetting during hardship keeps perspective intact. Restarting within hardship proves character. Refocusing afterward transforms lesson into power. The Stoics' progress is forged in difficulty, not diminished by it. The impediment to action advances action is not metaphor, it is physics of psychology. The same force that blocks also defines direction. Resetting means observing where energy meets resistance. Restarting means aligning motion with that boundary. Refocusing means refining pressure until it becomes productive. Every challenge becomes a coordinate guiding endurance. The obstacle-centered path teaches efficiency. When emotion subsides, only strategy remains. The Stoic does not dramatize resistance, they dissect it. Reset removes panic. Restart applies reason. Refocus sustains execution. This mechanical precision transforms chaos into a training environment. Adversity ceases to be personal, it becomes procedural. Seneca's warning complements Marcus's principle. It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. The obstacle wastes no time, it demands all of it. The Stoic understands that avoidance is the true thief of life. Resetting priorities means removing trivial motion. Restarting means committing time only to what strengthens virtue or fulfills duty. Refocusing ensures attention remains on essentials. Time is not short, attention is. The Stoic manages it as sacred capital. Every moment spent on resentment or distraction is currency burned. Resetting awareness of mortality renews urgency. Restarting through deliberate planning converts intention into structure. Refocusing throughout the day guards that structure from drift. The disciplined life is not rushed, it is precise. Obstacles teach the economy of effort. When progress slows, the Stoic recalculates, not complains. Resetting recalibrates the route. Restarting adjusts pace. Refocusing maintains aim. The mind learns that movement under resistance produces strength, while avoidance produces weakness. The path narrows, but progress deepens. Seneca's reflection on wasted life reveals the hidden cost of drift. Most people do not live short lives, they live distracted ones. Time dissolves into fragments of reaction, consumption, and repetition. Resetting clears this fog. Restarting sets rhythm. Refocusing defends that rhythm from interruption. The Stoic lives with compression, each hour dense with purpose. Every obstacle compresses potential into a single point of decision: retreat or adapt. The Stoic always adapts. Resetting removes the emotion that clouds judgment. Restarting translates adaptation into motion. Refocusing ensures persistence until result appears. Adversity reveals who has practiced composure and who only pretended it. Obstacles also define value. If something obstructs easily, it probably lacked importance. The Stoic uses difficulty as filter. Resetting focus around what resists most often reveals the true direction of growth. Restarting effort there demands endurance. Refocusing ensures effort remains efficient under pressure. The difficult path becomes the authentic path. Seneca's teaching about time insists that clarity must precede movement. The Stoic does not rush from one distraction to another, calling it productivity. Resetting priorities means confronting what truly matters. Restarting action means simplifying until only essentials remain. Refocusing sustains attention where it counts. Time expands when spent on substance. The impediment principle and the time principle converge into one law. Do not waste resistance or time. Both are currencies of strength. Resetting perspective turns resistance into guidance. Restarting action turns time into legacy. Refocusing unites both into discipline. The Stoic thus lives longer within the same number of days. When faced with difficulty, the mind's first reaction is avoidance. The Stoic counters it with examination. What is this obstacle? What skill does it require? What principle does it test? Resetting asks those questions. Restarting answers them through behavior. Refocusing continues until mastery is achieved. Every obstacle then becomes a curriculum of resilience. The value of time becomes clearest when the obstacle is immovable. When you cannot proceed forward, you learn patience. Resetting teaches waiting without decay. Restarting redirects energy into preparation. Refocusing refines understanding. The Stoic never truly stops. They change form of progress. To waste time is to disrespect opportunity. Seneca saw this waste not as laziness but as confusion, a life filled with noise mistaken for living. Resetting filters out this noise. Restarting fills silence with intention. Refocusing keeps attention from scattering. Purpose becomes architecture, not accident. Obstacles remove excess illusion. In friction, all that remains is what functions. The Stoic appreciates this purification. Resetting clears false assumptions. Restarting applies realism. Refocusing keeps philosophy practical. What stands in the way becomes what reveals the way. Every moment of resistance is an invitation to demonstrate control. The Stoic does not view pressure as punishment, but as validation of preparation. Resetting under stress maintains clarity. Restarting under stress proves endurance. Refocusing afterward consolidates learning. Through this sequence, even setbacks advance character. Seneca's reminder about wasted time is a command to live consciously. The Stoic measures days by depth, not length. Resetting after distraction reclaims ownership of life. Restarting translates clarity into movement. Refocusing keeps this vigilance sharp. The person who treats time as sacred wastes none of it defending trivial pride or chasing hollow comfort. Obstacles and time are the twin mirrors of Stoic training. One reveals strength, the other reveals value. Resetting perception toward both creates balance. Restarting within that awareness builds rhythm. Refocusing sustains momentum without excess. The Stoic who lives this way walks through difficulty and mortality with composure. When an obstacle arises, most see limitation. The Stoic sees direction. What resists most fiercely shows where power is meant to grow. Resetting dissolves frustration. Restarting channels force into precision. Refocusing builds momentum through repetition. Resistance becomes compass. To waste life is to drift through it unaware of its scarcity. Seneca's challenge forces confrontation with mortality, not as dread, but as activation. Resetting priorities daily transforms routine into ritual. Restarting with gratitude amplifies focus. Refocusing during fatigue ensures continuity. Awareness of finitude sharpens presence. Obstacles refine the texture of time. They slow perception, forcing the mind to engage deeply. The Stoic embraces this slowing. Resetting within resistance transforms impatience into attention. Restarting within difficulty strengthens persistence. Refocusing after success prevents complacency. Every obstruction deepens experience. Both Marcus and Seneca describe motion, one through adversity, one through urgency. Together they outline the Stoic rhythm: confront, adapt, advance. Resetting initiates confrontation. Restarting begins adaptation. Refocusing sustains advancement. The external world becomes a proving ground for internal order. Every obstruction in life offers a lesson in direction, and every moment lost offers a warning in discipline. Reset to see both clearly. Restart to act on what matters. Refocus to maintain it. The Stoic wastes nothing, not pain, not time, not effort. What stands in the way becomes progress, and what remains of life becomes mastery. A life without structure decays into drift. The mind weakens when it depends on bursts of motivation instead of daily rhythm. The Stoic knows that control is not found in intensity, but in repetition. Every act of discipline, repeated without fail, hardens into identity. To restart does not mean to begin once again with enthusiasm. It means to rebuild with precision through consistent effort, until consistency itself becomes nature. The untrained mind expects change to arrive suddenly. The disciplined mind builds it slowly, invisibly, through habit. Aristotle understood this law. Excellence is not a moment, but a pattern repeated until permanent. Resetting begins when the individual stops romanticizing transformation and starts engineering it. Restarting is not about emotion, it is about execution. Refocusing converts routine into virtue. Each repetition refines the system. Each return to structure strengthens clarity. The Stoic knows that life does not change by decision alone, but by disciplined reinforcement of that decision through action. The body follows the rhythm of the mind, and the mind follows the rhythm of behavior. When behavior is scattered, thought fragments. When behavior is ordered, thought aligns. Resetting means establishing ritual. The first hour of the day, the first thoughts after waking, the first movements, all anchor the rest of the day. Restarting is returning to those anchors when drift begins. Refocusing is holding to them until discipline turns into instinct. Habit is not confinement, it is stability in motion. The modern person seeks novelty to escape boredom, but the Stoic seeks repetition to perfect focus. Routine is not prison, it is laboratory. Each repetition refines execution, strips waste, and builds endurance. Resetting clears away distraction that interrupts this cycle. Restarting restores rhythm after it is lost. Refocusing ensures that each repetition serves purpose, not compulsion. Through repetition, chaos becomes order. The pursuit of excellence is not glamorous. It is quiet, methodical, and often unseen. The Stoic repeats their duties not for approval, but for alignment. Resetting removes the illusion of arrival. Restarting affirms that mastery is never final. Refocusing maintains effort when applause fades. Excellence is not achieved, it is sustained. The unexamined life is not worth living. Socrates' declaration reminds the Stoic that reflection is the engine of progress. Habit without awareness becomes automation. Resetting demands examination, an audit of thought, action, and intention. Restarting means correcting direction when behavior diverges from principle. Refocusing ensures that daily repetition remains conscious. Reflection converts motion into meaning. Without examination, effort drifts toward vanity. The Stoic pauses regularly to ask, "Why am I doing this? And is it aligned with virtue?" Resetting through reflection purges ego. Restarting after evaluation removes wasted effort. Refocusing aligns movement with truth. This inner audit keeps progress authentic. To live examined is to live awake. The unexamined life moves quickly but blindly, collecting achievements that lack coherence. The Stoic slows to think, to measure not how far they've gone, but in which direction. Resetting means halting blind pursuit. Restarting means resuming with awareness. Refocusing ensures that awareness stays active under stress. Clarity, not speed, defines forward motion. Habits and examination form the two pillars of mastery. Habit builds structure. Examination ensures direction. One without the other collapses. The Stoic unites both. They act with consistency and reflect with honesty. Resetting restores both pillars when either weakens. Restarting rebalances them through deliberate correction. Refocusing keeps them synchronized over time. Aristotle's wisdom teaches that identity is repetition. Each choice carved into daily life becomes a stroke of definition. Resetting is the recognition that every moment contributes to character. Restarting is the choice to reinforce strength through routine. Refocusing is the maintenance of rhythm through fatigue. Character is not declared. It is demonstrated repeatedly. The unexamined life wastes energy on illusion. The examined life conserves it through alignment. Resetting after reflection filters priorities. Restarting simplifies focus. Refocusing turns simplicity into consistency. The Stoic knows that scattered energy leads to weakness, but concentrated energy builds fortitude. Excellence without awareness is mechanical. Awareness without repetition is unstable. The Stoic fuses both. Resetting ensures awareness guides repetition. Restarting ensures repetition builds strength. Refocusing ensures both endure through time. This synthesis turns effort into artistry. Examination exposes the truth about progress. Many believe they are improving when they are merely busy. Resetting clarifies distinction between motion and advancement. Restarting channels energy into meaningful work. Refocusing ensures productivity remains principle-driven, not ego-driven. The Stoic measures success not by appearance but by integrity. Habit creates freedom by eliminating indecision. Each practiced behavior reduces mental friction. The Stoic automates virtue so that right action requires no debate. Resetting reviews those habits to ensure alignment. Restarting renews commitment to precision. Refocusing sustains repetition through adversity. The disciplined life simplifies existence by removing unnecessary choices. Reflection refines awareness of time. The unexamined life wastes it unconsciously. The Stoic sees time as the raw material of virtue. Resetting acknowledges how it's spent. Restarting corrects misuse. Refocusing ensures each moment builds momentum. Life becomes an intentional sequence rather than a blur. Every restart is a chance to correct imbalance. Habits drift toward comfort. Reflection brings them back to challenge. Resetting means dismantling routines that no longer serve growth. Restarting replaces them with systems that strengthen focus. Refocusing ensures those systems evolve as capacity expands. The Stoic treats every cycle as calibration, not failure. Excellence emerges from quiet repetition, not dramatic resolution. The Stoic avoids extremes of effort followed by collapse. They sustain moderate, relentless motion. Resetting maintains composure after disruption. Restarting restores pace. Refocusing sustains consistency through monotony. Progress becomes immune to mood. Reflection prevents the corruption of habit. Without questioning purpose, habit decays into ritual without meaning. Resetting through contemplation preserves clarity. Restarting with renewed reason restores vitality. Refocusing ensures purpose stays visible even in repetition. Conscious effort becomes devotion. The unexamined life obeys impulse. The examined life follows reason. Resetting exposes where impulse has infiltrated thought. Restarting replaces it with deliberate choice. Refocusing protects that choice from fatigue. Every decision examined strengthens autonomy. Aristotle's principle that we become what we repeatedly do reveals that mastery is not achievement, it is identity. Resetting when failure occurs prevents despair from hardening into habit. Restarting with precision transforms failure into practice. Refocusing on routine eliminates emotional volatility. The Stoics' excellence is built from thousands of minor corrections, not grand declarations. Reflection turns awareness inward, revealing the architecture of self. The Stoic studies their responses, motives, and patterns without judgment. Resetting cleans this architecture of distortion. Restarting repairs cracks through discipline. Refocusing polishes intention until integrity reflects clearly. This maintenance is endless, but it is peace in motion. Habits shape thought, and thought shapes destiny. The Stoic cultivates both as gardener and architect. Resetting uproots weeds of distraction. Restarting plants new seeds of focus. Refocusing ensures the garden thrives under changing conditions. The harvest is composure. The examined life requires solitude. Noise dilutes introspection. The Stoic retreats into silence, not to escape, but to observe. Resetting during solitude reconnects them with principle. Restarting afterward applies that insight. Refocusing integrates understanding into daily rhythm. Solitude becomes the forge of wisdom. Excellence without reflection risks arrogance. Reflection without discipline risks paralysis. The Stoic walks between these extremes by acting and observing in equal measure. Resetting restores balance when one overtakes the other. Restarting rebuilds symmetry through deliberate awareness. Refocusing maintains equilibrium over time. To restart effectively, the mind must understand what to preserve and what to discard. Reflection identifies both. The Stoic trims what is redundant and strengthens what is vital. Resetting clears space. Restarting implements change. Refocusing guards against relapse. Through this pruning, excellence becomes lean and focused. Examination requires humility, the courage to confront imperfection without denial. Resetting after failure demands honesty. Restarting after reflection demands forgiveness. Refocusing demands patience. The Stoic learns that mastery is not perfection, but endurance under truth. Routine builds external order. Reflection maintains internal harmony. The union of the two produces steadiness. Resetting synchronizes them. Restarting sustains them. Refocusing deepens their connection. The Stoic thus lives as both worker and thinker, never losing sight of purpose. Excellence grows through repetition of principle under varied conditions. Reflection ensures adaptability. Resetting when circumstances shift prevents rigidity. Restarting with awareness ensures continuity. Refocusing during transition preserves control. Discipline becomes portable. Socrates demanded that life be examined because awareness gives it meaning. The Stoic applies that demand through daily recalibration. Resetting renews perspective. Restarting enacts understanding. Refocusing unites thought and action. The examined life, reinforced by habit, becomes a disciplined existence worth living. To live without reflection is to repeat mistakes blindly. To live without habit is to lose progress through inconsistency. The Stoic merges both to create motion with awareness. Resetting removes chaos. Restarting builds rhythm. Refocusing maintains alignment. This is how ordinary days become instruments of mastery. The person who combines awareness with repetition becomes immovable. Each reflection refines clarity. Each repetition hardens will. Resetting keeps the process clean. Restarting keeps it active. Refocusing keeps it precise. The result is unshakable calm, built from steady motion and self-understanding. Excellence, then, is not destination, but maintenance. Reflection ensures direction. Habit ensures endurance. Together they form the structure of a life lived deliberately. The Stoic knows that mastery is simply this: to wake, to examine, to act, to repeat, each day a small conquest, each repetition a silent victory. Attention builds reality. Wherever the mind rests, identity forms. The Stoic understands that focus is the sculptor of the self. To reset means to reclaim where attention is directed. To restart means to rebuild action around that choice. And to refocus means to sustain it until it becomes identity. Distraction fragments the mind, attention reunites it. Every thought entertained plants a seed, and what is watered grows. You become what you give your attention to. The modern world commodifies attention. Every platform, every notification competes for the mind's gaze. The Stoic protects attention as a sacred resource. They know that the quality of life equals the quality of focus. Resetting begins with withdrawal from noise. Restarting begins with deliberate redirection toward what strengthens reason and purpose. Refocusing maintains that discipline when external chaos attempts invasion. The mind becomes a fortress built through intentional awareness. The undisciplined person allows attention to wander into triviality. The Stoic reclaims it through conscious aim. They select what to observe, what to ignore, and what to cultivate. Resetting this selection daily ensures clarity. Restarting affirms that attention is not merely a reaction, it is a command. Refocusing sustains command until concentration becomes peace. The mind is malleable. It takes the shape of what it repeatedly studies. To live surrounded by chaos and negativity is to absorb it subconsciously. Resetting means purifying the field of perception. Restarting means surrounding the mind with order, reading what refines it, and engaging only with what reinforces principle. Refocusing ensures that attention remains disciplined under fatigue. The self is the sum of sustained attention. Epictetus taught that before action comes identity. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The Stoic lives this rule with precision. They define their aim clearly, then align every thought and motion toward it. Resetting clarifies that aim when it fades. Restarting renews commitment through consistent execution. Refocusing integrates principle into every decision until conduct mirrors intention. Without definition, energy disperses. The person who has not declared who they wish to be is controlled by external demand. Resetting establishes identity through introspection. Restarting translates it into structure, schedule, habit, standard. Refocusing maintains that structure through endurance. The Stoic does not guess at identity. They build it through deliberate repetition. Self-definition is the foundation of direction. The Stoic begins by asking, what kind of person am I training to become? This question refines both goal and behavior. Resetting answers it honestly. Restarting acts upon it daily. Refocusing returns to it whenever confusion sets in. Life gains momentum when aim replaces drift. Seneca observed, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Direction precedes speed. Without aim, even effort becomes waste." Resetting identifies the destination, principle over impulse, virtue over vanity. Restarting sets the sails, routine, discipline, composure. Refocusing keeps course steady through changing winds. Every action becomes navigation. The Stoic understands that motion without clarity leads nowhere. Many live in constant activity but lack trajectory. Resetting removes false urgency. Restarting establishes hierarchy of focus. Refocusing ensures continuity of aim through distraction. Purpose converts movement into progress. To reset properly, one must empty the mind of noise before re-establishing direction. The Stoic practices silence, solitude, and reflection as navigational instruments. They stop before moving again. This stillness is not laziness, it is alignment. Restarting after such pause becomes clean and intentional. Refocusing transforms stillness into strategic motion. Without this recalibration, effort decays into reaction. Attention determines destiny because it constructs the mental environment. The Stoic curates this environment carefully. They guard what enters through sight, sound, and conversation. Resetting filters inputs. Restarting installs boundaries. Refocusing sustains vigilance. Over time, this discipline turns external chaos into internal order. To declare who you wish to be demands honesty and commitment. The Stoic does not wish vaguely, they decide precisely. They define in measurable terms what virtue looks like in action. Resetting recalls this definition each morning. Restarting applies it through repetition. Refocusing defends it against distraction and fatigue. Identity becomes the product of execution, not imagination. Without self-declaration, one drifts into imitation. The world fills the void with its own values. Resetting breaks imitation. Restarting builds independence. Refocusing preserves it. Freedom begins when direction is self-chosen, not externally imposed. The attention economy thrives on confusion. Every new distraction resets focus toward insignificance. The Stoic moves in the opposite direction. They strip away noise until attention concentrates on principle, creation, and discipline. Restarting from that foundation restores control. Refocusing keeps attention undivided. Peace grows as attention narrows. Direction grants power to adversity. Without aim, obstacles appear meaningless. With aim, they become part of the route. Resetting under stress means remembering the port to which you sail. Restarting means using the obstacle as navigation aid. Refocusing ensures endurance until clarity returns. The Stoic converts difficulty into map. Attention without intention scatters. Intention without attention weakens. The Stoic unites both. Resetting rebalances when one outpaces the other. Restarting harmonizes thought and action. Refocusing maintains that union through time. The result is mental coherence, energy concentrated on what matters. Every day begins with a new choice of attention. The Stoic decides before the world decides for them. They determine what deserves their mind and what does not. Resetting each morning prevents drift. Restarting throughout the day restores focus when it strays. Refocusing each evening seals reflection with gratitude and precision. This rhythm forms mental armor. Identity expands from attention outward. What the mind studies, the body imitates, and the life reflects. Resetting awareness of this chain builds accountability. Restarting strengthens it through consistent example. Refocusing maintains alignment when emotion tempts deviation. Excellence becomes predictable. To know which port to sail toward, one must define principle, not preference. Preferences change with circumstance. Principles endure. Resetting distinguishes between the two. Restarting aligns behavior with principle. Refocusing ensures consistency regardless of weather. The Stoic measures progress not by comfort, but by fidelity to chosen values. Attention is both lens and steering wheel. What you see determines where you go. The Stoic adjusts that lens daily. Resetting cleans perception. Restarting recalibrates direction. Refocusing sharpens vision under distraction. The result is a mind unclouded, steering through complexity with precision. When purpose fades, distraction fills the void. The Stoic anticipates this decay and treats reflection as maintenance. Resetting renews intention through solitude. Restarting re-engages practice through routine. Refocusing prevents drift through continuous self-observation. Presence replaces confusion. Epictetus's sequence, First decide who you will be, then act accordingly, teaches alignment of thought and conduct. The Stoic treats decision as design, not dream. Resetting ensures that decision is revisited frequently. Restarting makes it physical through behavior. Refocusing integrates both until life itself becomes expression of principle. The gap between aim and action closes. Seneca's image of the ship and port applies to every domain of modern existence. Those without clear aim drift between trends, moods, and external pressures. Resetting reclaims direction. Restarting navigates with discipline. Refocusing stabilizes through storms. The disciplined mind does not rely on favorable wind. It creates progress from control. The Stoic keeps their port defined, but their route flexible. They do not cling to plans, they cling to purpose. Resetting adapts method when obstacles shift conditions. Restarting maintains motion despite detours. Refocusing keeps purpose constant. This adaptability transforms uncertainty into advantage. What you give attention to, you strengthen. The Stoic ensures that what grows inside them reflects their chosen identity. Resetting clears weeds of distraction. Restarting nourishes focus with repetition. Refocusing prunes waste. Character becomes cultivated terrain, managed, fertile, resilient. Direction without focus is noise. Focus without direction is stagnation. The Stoic binds both through daily discipline. Resetting restores clarity of aim. Restarting reinforces it with effort. Refocusing preserves it against erosion. Time bends toward meaning when every thought serves trajectory. The Stoic life is a study in navigation. Winds shift, tides change, but the captain remains calm because the port is known. Resetting reviews the map. Restarting adjusts the sail. Refocusing stays on course. Each action becomes deliberate motion toward mastery. Attention is destiny and direction is its form. To govern both is to govern the quality of life. Reset, restart, refocus. Three commands that turn awareness into command, intention into identity, and daily effort into timeless composure. Contentment begins where excess ends. The Stoic recognizes that peace cannot survive in a cluttered life. The pursuit of more wealth, more recognition, more approval, fractures attention and erodes clarity. To reset means to strip away the unnecessary. To restart means to build upon simplicity. To refocus means to protect that simplicity from corrosion. Plato understood this when he said that the greatest wealth is to live content with little. It was not a rejection of possession, but a declaration of sovereignty, the realization that the richest life is one that owns itself. Modern life conditions the mind to measure value by accumulation. The Stoic measures it by independence. Resetting begins with auditing what truly serves stability. Restarting redefines abundance as sufficiency. Refocusing maintains that boundary against the pull of greed and comparison. The more one owns, the more one must guard. The more one needs, the less one rests. True reset is not minimalism for its own sake, but precision of necessity. The person who can live with little is free because nothing external dictates their peace. The Stoic cultivates this internal abundance deliberately. They examine each desire for its cost. Resetting eliminates what drains focus. Restarting replaces craving with appreciation. Refocusing solidifies that posture through gratitude. Possession without dependence becomes mastery. Dependence without possession becomes slavery. Excess divides the mind into fragments. Every additional demand steals attention from what nourishes strength. Resetting through simplification consolidates power. Restarting then channels it into concentrated purpose. Refocusing ensures that no distraction dilutes it again. A simple life is not empty. It is pure concentration of energy toward what matters most. Aristotle taught that the energy of the mind is the essence of life. To lose focus is to lose vitality. The Stoic interprets this as a command to conserve attention as one would conserve breath. Each moment of awareness misused weakens the structure of the day. Resetting reclaims that energy from triviality. Restarting directs it toward creation, learning, or discipline. Refocusing sustains it against entropy. Energy multiplies when purpose contains it. Mental fatigue often arises not from overuse, but from misdirection. The mind, forced to oscillate between countless insignificant tasks, burns through strength without meaning. The Stoic avoids this diffusion. Resetting means closing unnecessary loops. Restarting means working within clear boundaries. Refocusing keeps the mind on a single axis until completion. Through this discipline, energy becomes dense, luminous, alive. To live is to manage mental force. Those who waste thought on resentment, gossip, or indulgence drain vitality at its source. The Stoic channels thought toward understanding, patience, and precision. Resetting replaces reaction with reflection. Restarting replaces consumption with contribution. Refocusing replaces anxiety with awareness. The mind thus becomes an engine of meaning rather than exhaustion. Democritus reminded that happiness dwells not in possessions or gold, but in the soul. The Stoic internalizes this truth. External success, detached from internal balance, produces only noise. Resetting reclaims happiness from dependence on fortune. Restarting centers it in conduct and clarity. Refocusing guards it through perspective. The soul that rules itself requires no wealth to feel rich. Material comfort without inner order becomes distraction disguised as achievement. The Stoic pursues comfort of conscience, not of circumstance. Resetting reduces attachment to what can be lost. Restarting invests attention in what cannot: virtue, intellect, discipline. Refocusing reaffirms that joy arises from alignment, not acquisition. Modern civilization mistakes stimulation for life. The Stoic reverses that equation. Too much consumption dulls perception. Too much choice weakens will. Resetting means returning to the essentials: quiet, focus, endurance. Restarting means mastering these until peace feels powerful. Refocusing ensures that modern noise remains outside the gates of attention. In silence, vitality expands. The energy of the mind is finite, but renewal is infinite when managed well. The Stoic treats thought as fuel, not decoration. They do not entertain ideas for amusement, but for alignment. Resetting filters thought through purpose. Restarting applies it to constructive action. Refocusing prevents leakage into distraction. The result is calm intensity, life lived at full depth without chaos. Plato's vision of contentment aligns with this conservation of energy. The fewer distractions one feeds, the more clarity remains. Resetting through gratitude transforms scarcity into sufficiency. Restarting builds systems that protect stillness, routines, boundaries, solitude. Refocusing reinforces these systems until peace becomes the default condition. Simplicity evolves into strength. The Stoic trains the mind to find abundance in control, not collection. Each act of restraint accumulates quiet wealth. Resetting honors that restraint. Restarting practices it. Refocusing preserves it. The mind that does not chase is already rich. The life that does not compete is already whole. Aristotle's reminder that the mind's energy defines life carries practical implication. Attention must be trained like muscle. Every scattered thought weakens it. Every moment of deliberate focus strengthens it. Resetting restores form after fatigue. Restarting builds endurance. Refocusing maintains rhythm through adversity. Over time, the trained mind radiates energy outward, influencing without effort. To pursue happiness externally is to condemn it to instability. Democritus understood that joy resides in the quality of the soul, not the texture of circumstance. The Stoic treats this as a daily meditation. Resetting shifts focus inward. Restarting strengthens inner discipline. Refocusing seals it through gratitude and awareness. When peace comes from within, no external fluctuation can remove it. Wealth measured by possessions decays. Wealth measured by focus endures. The Stoic defines prosperity as order in thought, clarity in aim, and calm in motion. Resetting removes waste that obscures these. Restarting commits to their daily practice. Refocusing ensures they never erode under stress. This economy of mind produces stability more valuable than gold. To live content with little is to possess everything that matters. The Stoic finds beauty in restraint and power in self-command. Resetting discards excess desire. Restarting rebuilds simplicity. Refocusing guards the serenity simplicity creates. Minimal need equals maximal control. Mental energy is sacred currency. Spending it carelessly weakens purpose. The Stoic budgets it wisely, allocating thought toward mastery, observation, and gratitude. Resetting acknowledges misuse. Restarting reallocates focus. Refocusing ensures investment yields clarity. The profit is presence. The soul cannot be filled by external abundance. It expands only through inner order. The Stoic returns to this law repeatedly. Resetting means detaching from validation. Restarting means rooting identity in principle. Refocusing means reinforcing that independence through solitude and reflection. From that foundation, peace becomes sustainable. Modern noise teaches endless wanting. The Stoic teaches measured being. Resetting counteracts desire's momentum. Restarting redefines success as calm direction. Refocusing maintains self-sufficiency amid demand. Freedom emerges not from getting more, but from needing less. To conserve the energy of the mind is to honor life itself. Every act of focus nourishes vitality. Every distraction consumes it. Resetting reminds the mind of this exchange. Restarting commits to mindful expenditure. Refocusing maintains this economy across time. Energy preserved becomes wisdom. Contentment is not the absence of ambition, it is the alignment of ambition with reality. The Stoic still strives, but toward mastery, not indulgence. Resetting clarifies what is worth striving for. Restarting channels effort accordingly. Refocusing keeps effort clean of ego. Progress becomes sustainable and pure. Happiness, as Democritus taught, is not granted. It is constructed from perception and order. The Stoic practices this construction as art. Resetting levels the foundation daily. Restarting lays new bricks of discipline. Refocusing polishes the structure with gratitude. Happiness becomes architecture, not accident. Plato's simplicity, Aristotle's vitality, and Democritus's inner wealth form a trinity of direction. Together they teach that contentment, focus, and soul alignment build the architecture of peace. Reset, restart, refocus. These are not separate actions, but continuous harmonies of one principle. Live deliberately, live simply, live awake. The Stoic who embodies this rhythm is untouchable by chaos. They need little, waste nothing, and hold clarity as their crown. Energy flows where intention reigns. Happiness dwells where dependence dies. In that balance, the mind stands unshaken, the soul self-sufficient, and life itself, finally, under control.